So The Resort was actually a really good series. I'm really glad that they resolved everything, both in terms of the mystery that was happening, as well as the emotional arcs and storyline beats with all of the different characters, as well as leaving a little bit of intrigue for the characters for a potential second season. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video, we are going to be reviewing Peacock series The Resort, which is a science fiction dark comedy mystery thriller series about what happened to a pair of young adults 15 years ago. Now, I really love the concurrent storytelling that they had, both in terms of what's happening in the past as well as what is happening in the present. I feel like they managed this really well, both from a storyline structure point of view, as well as weaving the two storyline threads together really nicely. And incidentally, I thought it was a really cool touch how in the present day storyline, the characters are retracing the steps of what happened to the characters in the past. So actually, they do go to very similar locations across the different episodes. And I'm so glad that they just resolved everything to do with this first season by the end of the first season in episode 8, which really doesn't happen all the time, actually. If you look at a lot of other TV shows, they always aim to end it on a bit of a cliffhanger and for you to find out more information in the next season, which can be a little bit frustrating, for example, with what happened with Severance on Apple TV+. But I'm really glad that they actually resolved everything. I mean, this series as a whole was a little bit strange at points, but it did work really well, and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you and more in this TV series review. So the series introduces us to a married couple, and we quickly learn as the episodes progress that their relationships is definitely on the rocks, and they've come to this resort to mend this as well as to celebrate their 10-year wedding anniversary, where they quickly stumble across this mystery about what happened to this pair of young adults who disappeared 15 years ago, and then they become a little bit obsessed with solving this. Now, from a positive point of view, I really did love that aspect of the storyline in terms of people's obsession and fixation with the past and the good old days, and always wanting to live back in the past and struggling to live in the present, which is really fascinating from a mental health point of view, as pretty much all of the characters, as you do progress across the season, and especially by the end of the season, when they are able to resolve their childhood trauma, then they are able to move on, let go of things, and really enjoy their lives, which I just think is a really great lesson to be learned as well, actually. And I loved how as you are progressing across the series, the mystery just gets more layered and layered, especially with all of the different cliffhangers at the end of each episode. It really does make you just want to watch the next one really well. Of course, the backdrop of this resort is super exotic, so you yourself just want to visit this place and just book an all-inclusive resort, which I think is really brilliant from a holiday incentivization point of view. And I also think, I mean, you could look at this as a positive or a negative, but it does get a little bit supernatural, and so the mystery does take a little bit of a turn in a way that you may not well predict, but it does have a lot of Scooby-Doo aspects to it, both from a mystery solving point of view, as well as a lot of mystical things happening in the background. However, from a negative point of view, I mean, you could look at this again as a positive. I mean, it does have a very distinct style and aesthetic, and that's really great, but I do feel like some of it does look a little bit strange and a little bit weird as well, and I don't think all of the jokes land, which did feel a little bit cringe at points, and certain storyline strands weren't fully resolved either. For example, why were Noah and Emma on the painting that the guy was creating 15 years ago? I would have loved it if they had resolved a couple of storyline threads that they had started. And I also wish they would have found the guy's phone that dropped from the elevator. So whilst the series wasn't perfect from a storyline point of view, I do actually think it worked really well across the 8 episodes that they had. So I really enjoyed the final episode of season 1. I think episode 8 was really great. It had a little bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean aspect to it in terms of they actually found the legendary location of Pasai, and all of the individual characters had their specific storylines resolved after they faced their biggest fears, which I thought was really clever. And the Emma character in particular, who has been so determined and so hellbent to wanting to solve this mystery. And as the episodes were progressing, you really did understand her determination for this, as she really wants to get over this really traumatic thing that happened to her with the death of her child, and she also wants something for herself as she feels a little bit suffocated in her marriage. So I thought it was really nice that she was the person that found the kids, and also had an opportunity to jump into the water as well and to live in the memory of the past. But actually, she decided to not do this and wanted to give her marriage a chance. So I just feel like the growth of this character was just so brilliant. And speaking of the kids, they found them, which I thought was really cool. And of course, they've jumped 15 years. These guys haven't aged, but everything around them has progressed by 15 years, which I think could be really cool from these characters' perspectives. But because of that, all of the other characters decided also to not jump into the pool of water. I thought it was really cool how both literally and figuratively they were able to close the chapter on this storyline. So the creator of this show, Andy, has revealed the fact that he has got certain plans for a second season. Now, of course, the mystery and all of the emotional arcs with these characters have been resolved. So maybe they'll do a bit of a White Lotus situation and bring in a brand new batch of characters to have another mystery for the Balthazar character to be a detective of. Or maybe Balthazar is going to go to another location, as obviously he teased when he gave the newspaper to Luna that he is going to go to an ocean far, far away. I don't think this is going to be Pasai. I feel like they're going to do a brand new mystery, a brand new storyline, and Balthazar will be the consistent character. I would love to see Sam and Violet again, just because they're such powerful characters that have jumped 15 years. So I feel like it would be really, really cool to explore what happens with them in the future. But I feel like a second season could be really, really intriguing in terms of a brand new mystery. So one of the many strengths of creating a TV series is that you really feel invested in all of the different characters' journeys and character arcs and character growths across the series, and that was definitely the case in the resort. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Cristin Milioti, who was so good playing the Emma character. You really feel like you are with her, especially in terms of her pure determination and obsession with resolving this storyline of the past. And I thought it was really, really emotional when you really do understand her trauma in terms of losing her baby and also the suffocation that she's feeling in her relationship. I do feel like she was a little bit hard on her partner Noah from time to time, but you really absolutely can believe their relationship, their marital relationship, I think, was depicted so well. And in terms of where this character was by the end of this show, I thought it was really, really powerful, as like I said, her determination was really pushing her through in terms of being able to reach the kids and the whirlpool. And she did see the baby, I believe, when she touched the water, but she ultimately decided not to go there, but was able to get over her trauma and then was able to hopefully move on from all of this with the Noah character. So I feel like the Emma character just held the show together really, really well. And like I said, I just absolutely love her character arc. Speaking of Noah, next up we have William Jackson Harper, and I love this guy. I feel like he really is the everyman. I feel like everybody, male and female, can really relate to this character, as he really was the pillar of stability and sensibility. And when he could see that everything is just going a little bit too crazy, he just wanted to take him and his wife out of the situation and just carry on with their lives and just remain in safety. But obviously, like we just went through, Emma just did not want to do that and just wanted to stay in this world. I was so fixated on trying to solve this mystery. So whilst you can definitely relate to the Emma character, I feel like you can also relate to Noah really, really well. Next up we have Gerardo Méndez, who I thought was absolutely sensational in this TV series. Even though he was a little bit over the top at points, I feel like he was so captivating in his performance, and he literally did throw himself into it. And even though he was a bit of an arrogant character, he was a billionaire as well. In some ways, you can relate to him on an emotional level as well. On that point, I feel like all of the different characters are so brilliantly written from an emotional point of view. For example, he really wants to get out of the shadow of his family, and I feel like the representation of the snake at the end of this show was really, really good. Obviously, his family is feared by a lot of people because of the fact that they are part of the Yellow Snake with Four Noses organization, and he was then able to metaphorically and literally get over this by defeating the physical representation of this, which I thought was so brilliant. And also, even from a younger age, he was so determined also to become a detective, which literally by the end of this show he really was. And really similarly to Emma, he was so hellbent and so determined and so passionate about making this detective dream a reality that I actually do feel like he's quite motivating, even though he may not be that relatable. I feel like as a character and as a performance, Lewis absolutely smashed it. And then we have Sam and Violet telling the storyline in the past, and similarly they come across a lot of life and death type situations, and I love the fact that they found each other across very difficult circumstances for both of them individually. And so when they were together, they were able to bring out the best of each other. And then they go on this crazy adventure and then now come back 15 years later, which does have a little bit of a manifest-esque aspect. And it would be really, really cool to see how they are going to be readjusting to life and how everybody else is going to be readjusting to the fact that they have now returned. So from a casting character's point of view, they were absolutely brilliant in the resort. So from a visuals point of view, I think the resort looked really, really cool, really, really exotic. Like I said, it really does make you want to go on a resort all-inclusive trip as well. I feel like there were some really cool sequences in this series, especially all of the mystery stuff that was happening. A lot of adventure game inspired sequences as well, very Indiana Jones-esque, and a lot of stuff that was happening from a hurricane perspective. So you can tell that a lot of set pieces were really, really expensively produced. But then at the same time, there were certain set pieces and sequences that did feel a little bit cheap. But like I said earlier on, it definitely was really clear about its vision that it wanted to create. And I feel like it was really, really successful in executing that vision. So from a comparisons point of view, I have mentioned a couple of movies and TV shows across this review so far that you definitely can compare The Resort to. And even though it is really, really individual in its execution and style and storyline, I feel like you can definitely compare it to a lot of other movies and TV shows. So for example, you can compare it to The White Lotus, Old, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, Palm Springs, Fantasy Island, Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, and even Echoes that was released on Netflix very recently in terms of past and present concurrent storylines being told. And so from a comparisons point of view, I feel like The Resort sits in really great company. So overall with The Resort, you know, I did really, really enjoy it. I feel like from a storyline point of view, it was really, really captivating. I feel like from a character's perspective, it was really, really cool. And the visuals were really, really great too. I did really enjoy it, but I absolutely did want to love this series. And I just feel like there was just a little bit something missing with this series. But, you know, it was really, really intriguing. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a very solid 6.5 out of 10. Now, I'd love to hear what you thought of The Resort, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.